Hi guys, and welcome to this week's mini bartenderhq.com podcast. It's going to be a short one, but I've got a lot of little bits to cover, so let's get right on with it.
Welcome to the bartenderhq.com podcast. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at bartenderhq. Here's your host, David Eden-Sangwell.
So, first of all, how to organise a piss up in a brewery. It's the old phrase, but it came true this week. We went over to the Batemans Brewery, which is up in Skegness, or just outside Skegness, up in Lincolnshire. We were there for a friend's wedding. Absolutely superb weekend. Got to have a little look around the brewery. Awesome old windmill, sadly now without its sails. But the base of the windmill, the round room at the bottom, has been converted into their bar, and it's beautiful, absolutely stunning place. But I got to try a few of their different beers. I do highly recommend trying some of these, especially the Black Pepper beer that they have. Really, really interesting flavour. It's got some black pepper to it before you add the little sachet that you get with it of black peppercorns, which they say add some of it to the bottom of the glass, swirl it, and then add the rest to the head of the beer. It was really interesting. I would have liked actually a little bit more of that black pepper kind of flavour to it, but nonetheless, absolutely superb. Great prices as well. These guys, I'm going to try and reach out to them, get them on the podcast soon. So if you want to hear a bit more about one of the oldest craft breweries in the UK, do let me know in the comments. And yeah, absolutely superb. A couple of days. The guys there were absolutely superb, looking after everyone, making sure everything was set for the wedding. Big thumbs up to the guys over at the Batemans Brewery. Now, as I mentioned, it's going to be a quick show, and the main reason for that is obviously being away this weekend just gone, and also the prep that we're in the middle of for the Masters of Flair, which is this weekend. So that is Sunday the 23rd of August. It's at Reflex Arcadian in Birmingham, which is the club that I bartend at regularly. I mentioned last week the music that I've got ready. That's all sorted now. I was able to get hold of some of the bottles that I'm going to be using. So just to give you a quick preview, we're going to be using a lot of the Bowls bottles. These are great. These are a little bit smaller than the standard, so these are a 500ml bottle, not a 700. They've got a great shape, which is based on a juggling club. I believe Neil Garner and Neil Lowry had some involvement in the design of this, because it was just around the time that those guys were working with bowls that these came out. They're very much a juggling club kind of bowling pin kind of shape. So they're great for multi-bottle grabs, catches, that sort of thing. So looking forward to flaring with those. Also, you saw a few weeks ago I covered the Brugal bottles. Now these bad boys, I've taken the netting off of this. I believe that's going to happen at the competition as well. And they're actually a really nice bottle to flare with, even though they've got a slightly squarish shape to them. These things work really nicely, very reminiscent of the old style Bacardi bottles that were so popular back in the day. And in fact, the really old Smirnoff bottles before they got the sort of angular shoulder to them. Last of all, the main one, the main sponsor is actually Stoli. Now, I had a bit of a nightmare. I couldn't find anywhere locally that sold Stoli retail, but I remembered that if you've seen my How to Make a Free Flair Bartending Kit video, the bottle that I actually used in that was a Stoli bottle, which has still been sitting on my shelf wrapped up in insulating tape since I made that poster. So I've taken it all off. I've not censored this, but the design has all come off the bottle, but it will give me the chance to practice with exactly the bottle I'll be using on the day. So those are all going to get a bit of Flair action this week. I will be doing my very best to post some video of what's going on with my practices. It'll be kind of raw, uncut videos. There will be drops. You'll see all that sort of stuff. But it's part of the practice. And dropping bottles does happen, especially in practice. That's the best place for it. Now, next week, there may well not be a podcast as such coming out next week, because next Sunday, when the podcast will be going live, is while we will be at the Masters of Flair. So, to make up for that, I'm going to be trying to interview as many of the bartenders as I possibly can at the Masters of Flair. We'll get some video of that, and then we'll also try and film every routine with a few angles, edit it all together. So in the weeks following the Masters of Flair, keep your eye on bartenderhq.com, keep an eye on the Facebook and the Twitter, and we will be sending out videos from that. On the subject of video, all being well, the Masters of Flair will be streamed live on the internet on Ustream. Now, if you want to get onto the feed for this, I do suggest you keep an eye on our Facebook page and our Twitter accounts. As soon as I have the links for the Ustream itself, I'll be putting those live on those pages, so you'll be able to watch live from wherever you happen to be in the world. I'll be hosting, the guys will be flaring, I will also be flaring. So this is my first competition of the Flair project, and we'll see how it goes. But as I say, for this week, guys, it's going to be a very short show. I'm going to leave it there. I've got a couple of cool podcasts coming up soon. I've got a interview lined up already. That is with the guy Sean Dupree from Angostura Bitters and Rums. We'll be having a good chat on the podcast. That interview is going to be happening in the next week or so, and should be up in the next couple of weeks. And the other one will be with the guys from Minus 33. Now, it's not a gin, it's a juniper distilled spirit. It's made like a gin, and Sam Trett, who's the guy behind this, I managed to hook him up with a bartender at short notice for one of the events that he was going to. So he gave me this while I was at Imbibe as a bit of a thank you. It was very good. It went down very nicely at a party that I was looking after my friends at. So we'll hopefully be having a chat about Minus 33, how it's different to other gin and gin type beverages, and see what's going on with that. So if you are interested in this stuff and you've got any questions for these guys, for Sean or Sam, drop us a message on the Facebook page or leave us a voicemail through the website, and I'll try and ask your questions. Until next week, guys, I've been David Sangwell for the BartenderHQ.com podcast, and don't forget to check out theflairproject.com. Would love to see you guys over there. Get signed up, and I would love your support. Get submitting some videos. Cheers, guys. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to the BartenderHQ.com podcast. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at BartenderHQ.
It's just before 6 a.m, 5:45, and we're off for some Flair practice. What the hell is this guy doing at 6 in the morning throwing bottles around at a skate park? And I'm thinking the same thing, but I'm going to be entering the Masters of Flair. That's going to be on the 23rd of August at Reflex Arcadian in Birmingham City Centre. So if you want to see the beginning of the Flair project taking shape, be there, come and join us. I'd love your support, and there's going to be a few of these little video blogs of me getting up far too early and chucking bottles around in inappropriate places.